All right, the Detroit Lions just made a move that I did not see coming. I don't think many people saw coming, except the Detroit Lions, who apparently have known this for quite some time. Of course, I'm talking about bringing back a familiar face in the quarterback room, Teddy Bridgewater. But before I get into that, I have a couple questions that I want to talk about. And this is interesting to me because I found myself, the Christmas tradition at my house has always been you watch basketball, right? From noon until midnight, right? Basically, there is basketball going. There are 5 games that span over that time. But over the last couple years, there have been games on Christmas. Last year it was because of, and the year before, and all those times, it's because, all right, that's when it falls during the week. It kind of makes sense to do games. But this year it was Wednesday. And it basically showed us that the NFL can do games no matter what day Christmas is on, whether it's on a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And I have a question for you. Are you a fan of NFL games on Christmas Day? And my answer is going to be almost always yes, but I did not like the Wednesday games. Tell me if you're with me on this. I did not enjoy the Wednesday games, and I don't know if it was because it was just the same 4 teams that played on Saturday and they were not competitive, but also it brought the same problem that we have on Thursday night games, which they are rarely competitive games because the teams have no time. They're playing on a Saturday and then they're playing again on a Wednesday on Christmas Day. It just felt like it was a money grab, and I understand that's what the NFL can be. I don't know how I'd feel if the Lions had a Christmas Day game. If it was on a normal day, like a Saturday or a Sunday or a Monday, all for it. But otherwise, I am not. We have Thanksgiving, and I'm very happy for that. So let's get into this Teddy Bridgewater thing. This is interesting because the one person who we all started to worry about was Hendon Hooker. Like, does this mean Hendon Hooker isn't come along as far as we thought he would? Does this mean that Hendon Hooker isn't as good? Does this mean Hendon Hooker isn't ready to lead the team if there is an injury, to Jared Goff? Oh no, what does this look like? Is he not the future? Is he not going to be a solid backup? That's not it. All right, let's look at this right here. Hendon Hooker reacted by saying, I figured Teddy was going to come back this season. He said via Dave Burkett of the Detroit Free Press. He said, didn't know when. I knew when his season was over, he was going to come back. I mean, we've been talking about it since the summer. Now, it didn't happen until late in the year. Why didn't it happen until late in the year? Because his team was so good, okay? It was so good. In fact, Teddy Bridgewater won the Florida Class 3A state championship. They beat Jacksonville Reigns, his alma mater, Miami Northwestern, 41-0. So apparently, Teddy Bridgewater can coach, which an NFL player should be able to go, especially a quarterback should be able to go to the high school ranks and have very much success. All right? Very, very much success. So let's see what Dan Campbell had to say about it. Let's say what Teddy had to say about it. We already heard what Hendon Hooker had to say about it. All right? Here is the next guy. All right. So I understand, this is Campbell, what it looks like, but it's just a different world that we're getting ready to talk into. I just felt like this is the right thing to do, especially with somebody that I have a tremendous amount of trust with and for. Campbell said to Pride of Detroit's Jeremy Reisman. He understands our offense well. The guys know him well. The coaches know him well. He brings a level of comfort to us. We talked about how important Teddy Bridgewater was to Jared Goff last year. Like, we talked about that. And he said, Teddy Bridgewater, I thought this was really interesting. He said that, like, his team knew that this was going to happen. All right. He said this was the plan all along. His team knew it was going to happen. They were going to play the season, and then he was going to go back to the NFL. Like, he doesn't have to be there the entirety of the offseason for high school football. He just doesn't have to be. So, yes. All right. Here's what he said. I'll give it to you exactly. He goes, that's the plan. Bridgewater responded to Rappaport and Pelissero on the NFL Network in last week's edition of The Insiders. He said, my team knows that's the plan. We wanted to win a state championship, and then coach goes back to the league. See what happens. And then come back February in the offseason, continue coaching high school football. We'll see how it plays out. And I don't know what the future is for Teddy Bridgewater. I'm going to go off on a weird tangent here. He's not that old. He's like 32 or something like that. Maybe he's got a few more years of doing this and trying to play. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up, you see, I mean, like, what was it? Deshaun Jackson is going to Delaware. I think at Delaware State, maybe something like that, to be the coach. Mike Vick, throw it in the comments. Where's Mike Vick going? He got a head coaching job. We've seen Deion Sanders get a head coaching job. These are guys getting jobs at D2 and 1 schools and 1AA schools. And so Teddy Bridgewater, maybe he wants to make the leap from high school to college. Maybe that's something he sees in his future. Maybe he wants to be in the NFL. Maybe he has a place on staff with the Detroit Lions when his playing days are done. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know if he's the heir apparent as the quarterback coach if everything starts moving up, or if there's a position that he can coach as everything starts to move around if Ben Johnson gets hired somewhere else. So I don't know what his thing is, but what I do know is that the Lions absolutely value him. They value his knowledge. They value him in the quarterback room. And sometimes they value his ability just to be able to run the offense at a pretty plain thing. Look, in the past, I would say I don't like this. I don't like bringing in a guy. Then all right, now all of a sudden, how are you splitting reps? Are you giving him reps in practice? Is it taken away from Hendon Hooker? Dan Campbell has proven that he knows how to run this stuff and seamlessly add players at different positions, and it doesn't affect the team come the weekend. In fact, the team's even better. So I'm not worried about it. All right, bring him back. He has a big brain. Let's work on that. All right, let's talk about a couple of other things coming up and what I am thinking and what I'm seeing, and I'll do more of a video on this tomorrow, as we're continuing to preview the game against the 49ers. But remember, don't forget this, if the Vikings lose on Sunday, if we beat the 49ers, we win the NFC North. The game doesn't even matter against the Vikings. And if we beat the 49ers, no matter what happens, we already have the edge over the Eagles. So, yeah, things can get weird. Things can get absolutely crazy. So, you're going to hear it here first. You're a Packers fan. You're a Packers fan on Sunday. You want them to beat the Vikings, and then you want the Lions to win so we can make that decision that we kind of had last year where it's like, do we want to rest starters? Do we want to play the starters? Do we play them a little? Remember, that's when Sam Laporta hurt his knee. Yeah, don't forget that. The other thing, someone that I'm going to say I think will have a decent game, and I know this sounds weird, if the Vikings indeed beat the Packers, I think Jamar Jefferson's going to have a decent game. I think he's going to get more run than we would expect against the 49ers, and I think he's going to become kind of the clear RB2 while David Montgomery is out. I wouldn't even be surprised to see Sione Vaki a little bit. I think Craig Reynolds is going to kind of fade into the background. I could be wrong on that, but I think that. If the Vikings lose and we have the ability to clinch, expect heavy doses of Jahmyr Gibbs. All right, that's just kind of my quick little beginning, and we'll be talking about this stuff throughout the weekend. Hey, thank you so much for watching on this. Lions bring back Teddy Bridgewater. I'm here for it. All right, thanks. We'll see you on the next one.